I didn't think much of the house at first. It was just another fixer-upper on the edge of town, too cheap to ignore, with cracked windows, yellowed wallpaper, and an attic that reeked of mold and old woodbut. Now I understand why it stayed empty for 47 years, and why the realtor never once stepped inside while showing it to me, only smiled awkwardly and handed me the keys from the safety of her car window, saying, "You'll either love it or it'll keep you forever," and then drove off without waiting for a reply. On my first night there, the house was deathly quiet, not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the kind where sound feels swallowed, where even your own breath seems too loud, like the walls are listening. I was cleaning out the attic when I found a small wooden box behind the rafters, carved with dozens of tiny symbols and latched shut with rusted wire. And inside was a stack of old Polaroids, each one showing the attic from the same angle, each one dated decades apart. And in every single one was the same person, standing in the corner, blurry, pale mouth stretched open far too wide, except the last photo. That one had no figure, only the words, "I'm in now," written in jagged black ink across the image. That night, the attic door slammed shut on its own, and when I opened it, I swear the air inside had changed. It smelled like iron and rain, like something wet and angry was waiting just past the shadows. I chalked it up to nerves, stress, or maybe leftover energy from the house's age. But then things began to happen that I couldn't explain. Furniture shifted an inch at a time each night. Lights turned off as soon as I entered a room, and my reflection started lagging behind in the mirror, just for a second, but enough to make me stop breathing. The old box was gone. I never moved it. I searched the whole house, but it was just gone. Then came the whispers. They began around 3:13 a.m. Every night, soft at first, like someone mumbling into a wall. But the more I ignored them, the louder they got, until they were hissing my name from the corners of the ceiling, under the floorboards, inside the drains. My neighbor, an elderly man named Robert, who'd lived down the road for 50 years, finally knocked on my door one afternoon and asked if I'd been playing recordings at night. When I told him no, he went pale and said, "They said you'd come back." I didn't know what he meant, but he refused to explain. That night, I found fresh, muddy footprints in the hallways, barefoot, leading from the attic to my bedroom mat. My bed was soaked, the pillow stained yellow with something that smelled like stagnant water. I stopped sleeping. I stopped leaving. I couldn't. Every time I reached for the front doorknob, my vision blurred and the hallway stretched longer, darker, until I was standing before the attic ladder, again, unable to remember how I got there. I started recording myself, and that's when I saw it. At exactly 3:13 a.m., my body would sit up in bed, my eyes still closed. I'd walk to the attic and stand in the corner, unmoving for 7 minutes. Then I'd smile and return to bed. But I had no memory of this, not even a dream. The next day, Robert was found in his garden, dead, with every mirror in his house shattered and a note nailed to his chest that read, "Too late." I should have run then, but the house didn't let me. I tried smashing a window, but the glass wouldn't break, just bent. I tried calling the police, but the phone always rang back to me from upstairs. Then I saw my reflection in the mirror grin at me before I did. I smashed the mirror and found the old box inside the wall behind it, this time open, filled with teeth, human teeth, my own teeth, all still there in my mouth. I screamed, until my throat bled. And when I looked up, she was standing in the hallway, pale, soaked, mouth too wide, arms limp. Her face was mine, stretched and broken, but mine. She raised one hand and pointed to the attic. I passed out. When I woke up, the floorboards were soaked. The house was silent, and every mirror had been turned to face the walls. The power didn't work anymore. My phone was dead. My own voice whispered from behind the walls. I never left. And that's when I understood. I'd never bought the house. I'd come home. And whatever I had escaped before, whatever part of me this house had once belonged to, had been waiting for me to return, to finish what it started. Now I don't sleep. I don't eat. I don't need to. I just wait in the attic, smiling, unmoving, and at 3:13 every night, the lights flicker, the doors creak, and a new photo appears under the floorboards, each one with a face slightly closer to mine. One day, you'll find this story. You'll read it. And when you do, check your attic. If it smells like rain, if the shadows move without sound, and if you see yourself standing still in the corner of your mirror, UVE already let her in.